What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you guys are ready to go. We got Al in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Amy, Bill, Brian, Frank. Good morning to Jeff, Joe, JT, Keith, Kevin, Lauren's in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Lucian, Michael, Ray, Rick. Good morning. We got Sarah, Tim, Virginia. Good morning to all my people out in YouTube land. Alyssa, good morning to you. We got Sabine, all my lurkers in my background. I was not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. Lucian is back in Orlando. Very sneaky, that guy. He's all over the place. But interesting enough, I was just flipping through my charts. I was like going through the share screen for TradingView. That was quite the DJ Dan Precision indicator call. Came in on what was that, Thursday, 630, 449. The target on this one, 629.80. So that did hit 2 Rs. And we are getting a little bit of a bounce pre-market today. Bigger question for me is how does today want to close? That's going to be my bigger question. If we give this up, it's a fairly good bounce. We've already hit a decent target as traders, and maybe that's enough for if I was in this trade, I would have taken my gains. I would have been out at that level. I think I had some puts that I did buy. I don't know if it was around that price, probably a little bit. I think a day or two prior. But yeah, I was getting out around there too. I think right before this pop, then we kind of closed lower and closed right at it. So as a trader, there's maybe a lot of people out, and that could free up some of the I could take some of the bears off the table, give the bulls a run. It is a pretty good gap for today so far, at least intraday wise. We are breaking above this. This even actually looks like a almost a disaster setup for bulls. We got there's your left shoulder, there's the head, there's the right shoulder. So I throw the neckline somewhere around here. So a little bit of a potential head and shoulders that could have got set up. We're at least avoiding that with today's gap up. So it's not the strongest. We are still inside day range from Friday, which was a fairly bearish day. You guys were telling me Tom Lee was already calling the bottom. So we had that 1.6% drop on Friday, and Tom Lee's just telling everyone to buy. So maybe that's all we get in this market. Who knows? Other than that, let's flip it to the daily. And again, how today closes, I think is going to help to determine a lot if this actually has any momentum behind it. The last few days, and even some of those green days, we've kind of noticed that the Bulls just didn't have the same strength that they had before. So we'll see how this if we give all this up, we start closing especially lower than Friday's candle. I think that sets us off to really pull back further. Let me just get some of those VPOCs on the screen as well. For today's range, the good news is we are above Friday's VPOC, so watch that for maybe some kind of bounce if we do drop again. This is 621.64. We might be catching some bulls off guard here. I don't know how likely, uh, how many at least retail traders were kind of getting in bearish on this candle, as opposed to seeing it already drop. Then they start coming in, and now you have some shorts getting trapped on this one. We'll see. We still have this gap fill. That's going to take us all the way up to 633.23. That's going to be our difficult resistance. I don't think we get there today. We still got to battle through this 20. And I'd say probably your first resistance for today, 627.39. If we could take that out, you have one right next to it, 627.86. Then you start moving into the 628.99 zone. So we have some work to do before we close this gap. But if we could at least start getting above some of those resistance, I would probably put this spot where we're opening is pretty fantastic. So the fact that we close all the way down there below this 623.53, not fantastic. Again, after hours over the weekend, pre-market today, we are getting back above some of that. So a little bit of strength coming from the bulls. Again, it just depends on if they can hold it or not. So we'll see. Other than that, let's go to the Qs. Let's see if the Qs could find us a little bit more strength, but not a horrific gap. I would say a questionable gap on SPY so far. Little bit stronger, maybe. on cues. We're right at the very high end of this candle. Looks to me like we are still below the 20 EMA, just barely. Big resistance on this one, 558.83. Then at least we're taking out every single bear that came in on Friday. Maybe get a little bit of a little squeeze action, I guess. Next big target, resistance 561.34. Then we probably approach this 563.09 to fill this gap. I'd be looking for about a 565.85. You're gonna want to see, and again, probably not today, but at some point, us close back above there. That might give us a little bit of signaling that we could go higher. And then the biggest one on the chart, 569.03. If we could start really closing above that, we're probably in the camp for all-time highs. I think it's an interesting spot. I don't know if I believe the Bulls too much today. They pretty impressive on the way down. Look for support 556.17. And then your big one, obviously 555.03 for today for Qs. And if we can't hold that, that would definitely signify we are still heading a little bit lower. BTC USD. Uh, yep, did I do it correct? And then it just stayed there. Okay. Bitcoin. We've been talking about this spot for a very long time. Probably about 3 weeks on this sideways consolidation. So the fact again that we did not break higher, not great. All of this now is going to be, even if the bulls are trying, this entire range is now huge defense. That's going to be a big, big resistance. We'll see if we kind of get rejected off of it, or if bulls can stamina up some more bullish sentiment to get us right past there. Other than that, we did get a close below it. This was somewhere around this 513.79 zone. They even came in with another VPOC on Saturday, right at that same exact location. So good news for the bulls for now. We're above that, but watch that level like a hawk if you are a crypto trader, if you're interested in Bitcoin. We start breaking through that. You do have, I'd say, psychologically, a little bit of a bearish engulfing candle. You have pretty good support, 112.496. But I think your next spot would be getting closer to this 109.798, and then most likely probably this 109.079 zone. So not great for today, at least right now. Bulls are trying, but watch that level. If they could hold this bullish engulfing candle and we could rally, that could take us back in this 117.855 zone, and then we have to see what happens from there. For today, if you could get above 114.870, then I think it's likely that we have a strong crypto day. Right now, it looks like we're just kind of hanging out. Even rejecting that last move still looks a little bit weak. And I think we have to rotate probably at least one more time in this one before we could get some actual bulls to start coming in. But we'll see. See how they want to play that out. I think we stay down in that range for a little bit longer. All right, we got some tickers that you guys are throwing out there, so let's check. The first one I see is Tesla. Tesla, and then a lot of earnings too. So Palantir, I think, is today after the bell. I think Disney is this week. I don't know if that's today, but some other big companies also reporting earnings very, very shortly in a couple hours and throughout the week too. So that could also change sentiment. We saw a lot of the big names come out report earnings last week, and even if they had good earnings, they were just not able to hold up. We got Tesla, so that does have a good gap to go for today. I'm not too impressed yet. Depends on where this thing opens though. If we get above 310.41, then this might be a decent gap and go. We definitely have an okay. I mean, we could get held up from some of those levels back in July 14th. I don't know how much they play into it. We've been there a few times. I would think your target for today could get you back to like this 317.93 zone. 310 has been, or 310, 311 has been a pretty interesting level where we've getting some intraday bounces. So we'll see if we want to be able to finally break out of that. But watch 310.55. If we could get above that, then we do have a gap and go. Not too much crazy volume came in on Tesla. Decent, okay volume came in on Tesla, but nothing too crazy. And we'll see if maybe we could squeeze some bulls. So watch where this one opens, or if it opens in this range, be patient. Maybe we get to pull back to this 304.80 first, and then that would get some of those bears trapped in there a chance to get out for even a small win, small loss, and then maybe Bulls have some momentum. But they're trying. We'll see. We'll see where this thing can actually open up at. Let's put that one higher on the list for today as well. And then if it can go further, if we can get a nice little gap and go with some momentum, if we get some momentum, it does have some range on it too, so that's not bad. Next one we got is Mara, also throwing out a high wave candle. Good retest spot. Yeah, I was talking to Emily about maybe we should get some puts down here. We've been doing it before, or not puts, selling some puts, and we didn't yet. We didn't yet. But high wave indecision candle, trying to hold at least a little bit of an interesting retest spot. The spot I have lower that we just really have not retested in a longer picture would take us down to this $14.09. But if we don't get down there, we are kind of holding some longer term consolidation, and maybe we can bounce out of here. If we're looking at it this way, we had pretty. I mean, this is where's that pen thing? Here we go. There we go. We've had obviously little double bottom. We had some resistance, I would say. Oh no, I lost the pen again. There we go. We got some resistance longer term here. We were just kind of hanging out after this bullish breakout. So all of this just sideways chop. Once we broke out, we never really retested. Short term, I guess we retested once, and we're right back into that chop. But I think all of this could start being some kind of retest, especially if Bitcoin wants to run. That'd be decent. For today, in terms of a day trade, still inside day, so not crazy sentiment. I'd give it a little bit of a bullish edge to Mara for today. We'll see if it holds. But I would expect maybe a pullback to $15.62. If that comes in, I think that's an interesting spot to take a stab bullish. Again, we have a lot of range on it. If we go higher, you have $16.41, and that takes you right below that 200 EMA on a daily. You have a couple levels that could mess with you back here. I think most notably, your bigger one is $15.83. And then just some other levels from over here, but I don't think that's going to play as much today. So I would want to see a little bit of a pullback on this one first at some point today. Come back down, retest those levels. Riot. Right, we're getting all the crypto ones today. We got Riot is that's a kind of a damaging gap. That's a rough gap. It is a retest gap, so maybe at some point we get the fill, which if you're playing it would probably take you into this $13.65 range. No wick whatsoever. Oh, well, very tiny, I guess. Decent amount of volume. We are starting to take out some of at least the key level from this spot. So $11.21, opening above it. I think these resistance will play a little bit more into this one. And again, even this dotted line, this is from the Lux Algo. So they're saying this thing opened right at this huge longer term, what should have been support $12.02. And it didn't. So I think overall, maybe get a small bounce inside candle. Otherwise, if it starts breaking $11.19, we'll probably come back for a bigger pullback. Maybe even into this $9.94. And then I do have one untested VPOC, $9.25. Until we get closing above this candle, I wouldn't probably be thinking that gap fill quite yet. I'd see if we get some kind of almost inside candles. I don't think we have too much range on this one. I think I'd stick to Mara over Riot for today. Coinbase, COIN. Coinbase kind of looks oddly enough like Riot. You didn't really come down quite yet for that full-on retest. We got close to it, but watch this 306.59 if we could start holding that. Otherwise, I see one really good spot if we get down there. Eventually, 292.88. This one does have some range to it, so it's not bad. Even if we just stay inside day candle, I think you have good risk reward to a bullish side of things. This is 337.05. Look for your support on Coinbase somewhere around 318.39. And probably if you get your stop underneath the low of the day, that's probably how I'd look to play this one. But decent amount of range. This is a wide candle. No bouncing. No, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 down days in a row. It's not a good looking candle. Other than that, you might have some bulls starting to step in. Maybe with 11 down days, selling some puts, maybe an okay decision on that one as well. Let's see. We got Amazon. Amazon with a decent gap and go, still inside day candle. We are opening into a little bit of resistance, and I think this resistance is a decent one for today. So let's see if we get above 217.16. I don't know if that's going to be an easy bull trade. You have your 50 EMA sitting somewhere around 218.47, so could run into a little consolidation there, and then you got some resistance. The next one up is about 219.79. Good news, at least for Amazon, is on Friday we've already come up to those zones. We've already rechecked into it. Bad news is we failed, but if we get up there again, maybe we get a break. High end of that candle, 220.30. So if we get back there, that gives you about roughly $3.10 to the bullish side. Your next target for today would take you to about 222.34 if you're bullish. I'd have to see where this one opens. Again, I'm gonna watch that 217.16 zone pretty closely. If we start closing below it, then I wouldn't try to go bullish until about 215.92. Otherwise, inside day candle, I would like to see this one actually come down first. Get myself better risk reward, buy it as low as I possibly can to that VPOC, and then give myself actually a little bit more room just in case we stay inside day for today. But it is a gap and go. Still slight edge to the bulls. MU kind of like this one better than Amazon in terms of range. First spot that could really hold us back takes us into like this 107.92. Again, I'd still inside day. I think I'd want this thing to drop a little bit first. We'll see if that actually happens, if the market wants to give us anything. But this takes us down to 105.01, so right around that 105 zone. I think would be your potential buy spot. Otherwise, we didn't quite get down to support 102.98. We still got 102.15. That is taking us very close to this 200 EMA, so hopefully that would hold. So somewhere in this range, decent buy spot, maybe even for a swing. Um, but for a day trade, if we want to get an interesting double bottom high wave candle, something like that, I think the next real resistance right around this 108 zone, 107.98, and then maybe this one coming for a full retest 108.87. So this one's got room in it. I like it. Still inside day. I look for a little chop at open and then see if bulls could finally determine if they are strong in that one today. INTC. Yep, and then we missed a whole bunch as well. Cool. We'll get to those. We got Intel definition of bears. It's a gap and go opening into resistance. We really shouldn't be below $20 on Intel. They've had decent earnings, not the last one, I guess. What did they do last earnings? So they missed by I don't even know if that's accurate. 929% on earnings per share. That's rough. And then they missed, or they did make an extra 874 million. I think that's a rough gap. That's going to be a tough one to recover from. If in a longer term sense, you start breaking $20.75, you have a lot of room, even just for the gap fill. But I think longer term, that sets us up for maybe a decent balance, and all of this is just kind of retesting. That being said, we're not there yet. We're pretty far off of it. That is a gap and go again. Even though gap and go, look for a little resistance. I'd want to see this thing clear $19.57 before going long. Otherwise, I don't even care if we gap completely outside of that candle. I'd probably want this thing to pull back a little bit more, $19.26 at least, to give myself a try on this one. But it's a rough sentiment. Even I think anything bullish on Intel right now probably going against the grain and makes those trades a little bit tougher. So if you're going to try bullish gap and goes, I think there's probably better options on a longer term basis, better sentiment that any of those retail names, the Palantirs of the world, even though they got earnings tonight, but any of those guys that just have a much healthier looking chart, I think you have better success on the bullish gap and goes, and there seems to be quite a few for today. Baidu. Baidu, nice little gap up. Let me check Baba real quick. Okay, gap and go on Baba. Let's see if we get more sentiment from Chinese stocks. But there's some bullishness. Baidu looks a little bit better. That being said, I look for targets around $89.41. That gets you to the VPOC. It also keeps you below that 200. Still, would be a impressive feat to get above this candle from July 29th. So at a psychological level, $88.96 could be a little resistance, and we're opening into a mini resistance from July 9th. I'm not going to put too much weight on this gap and go. So this is a gap and go from Friday. You're off pretty far from it. It's not bad, but that red candle is inside of this last green candle. So I don't think we open on this one and just pure momentum comes in. If it does, you're looking at like 89.39 for targets. That's okay. It's not a huge range. I think this acts a little bit more like a retest gap, and we get down into, I'd say, at least $88.11. Best case, if we could get to like 87 would be nice. I don't think if there's any bullish sentiment in Baidu, I don't really want to see Friday's VPOC get filled, which is 86.25. Otherwise, that is your Friday support. I don't think we get down there. I think you bounce a little bit higher, but I would think that there's a little bit more retest than it is a little bit more retest than it is a gap and go for today. So see if that one can pull back. Let's put this one higher on the list. Apple. Apple has not been having great sentiment. Gap and go for today. Inside day still. My bullish my bullish camp and why maybe worth a shot, or at least showing some effort from the Bulls. We are opening above us 203.32 zone. I'd also say you have a decent range. Your first resistance on this one, 204.83. And I think your bigger targets could get you to this like 208.16 zone. So I like the effort so far from the Bulls. I like the range. I like the potential targets on this. I absolutely don't like how that candle looks. That's a bearish. It was. We tried a gap and go before. There was zero sentiment coming in. This is almost a longer term struggle bus where you have not as bad as Intel, but again, it's not worth a try. I think you can get up there even looking at the volumes 207.25. I think there's probably stronger stocks to look at, but this one has shown absolute terrible bullish sentiment over the last couple days. We were pushing against that 215 zone for a couple times. Earnings on Apple weren't not bad, but again, it's not a growth company anymore. So you have to kind of value it almost differently. But that being said, we got, I think you have big support on this one if you get down to $200 eventually. For today, though, let's see what happens at 203.33. Anything above it, I'd lean to the bullish side. We might be able to sneak a day trade out. Anything below it, I don't even know if I want to short it with all that support coming in. So decent bounce spot. Okay, try for bulls today. If I have to pick a direction, I'm leaning bullish, but even this gap up is still very low to Friday's entire candle. So we will see. But pull this one I wouldn't mind just waiting, seeing if it actually came down, we could get a good decent candle at that support. CCL. Oh, I did CCO. There we go. CCL. Uh trying to hang in there. Trying. This is technically a retest gap from Friday. The market on Friday was a rough one. This one stayed green, closed green on the day, threw in a little bit of a hammer. You don't want to see any close on Carnival below 28.81. Even the VPOC from Friday came in higher than all that. So hanging in there, opening into a little bit of resistance, maybe a tad slightly above it. If it is, not bad. If we could get up above 29.27, that might give us more room. And it could happen potentially quickly. We'll have to see. But next target will be 29.70. And then I think just kind of closing that gap up, take you to about $30.02. But at least this one had some good positive sentiment on Friday comparative to the rest of the market. If this one which this technically is a retest gap. If this one pulls back, look for your kind of bounce spot 28.97, see if that holds. If not, again, I don't think I would short it there. You're kind of jumbled up. Uh, but anything below 28.81, I think would be your short on Carnival. We got Nike, NKE. Nike, we got a retest gap, but it is opening in an interesting location. So anything above 75.01, we're going to deal with a little bit of resistance. I think eventually you're looking for some kind of bounce into, I think your bigger resistance is probably get above 76.33 on Nike. Being that it's opening at a very interesting location, I think this one would be primed if we get it, a high wave candle on a 3 or 5 minute chart today. I don't really want to see this thing pull all the way back for that retest. The big support on this one, 74.47. So anything above that would be bullish. All of this green candle, though, is a retest gap from, I think it's at least 3 days. Yep. So there's a gap down. So essentially 3 days of selling, retest gap. You are holding in at least an interesting level. It's going to be met with some resistance, but I think some little high wave candle indecision here because you're opening above a good spot. You don't really want to see a pullback, although I think that's a much better spot to risk to reward wise, 74.68. But interesting location. Does the Bulls have it today? I don't know. I don't know. That Friday candle looked a little sketchy to me on the overall markets. We got Pepsi. That is a pure inside day candle, at least on Pepsi. We have day two of the VPOX moving up, and we're opening above both of them. This one could be actually a little sneaky to the upside, although most likely, I think, probably inside day. But if we get a good close, we're staying 1, 2, we get another VPOC higher. Targets on this one probably takes us to about 41.80. But we're going to need to really, this is again, damaging candle. I think you're also longer term. I would have liked at least to see this thing come down to like 136.54. Better yet, I think if you get down to like this 134.93, that should be your longer term bounce spot. So we're kind of in no man's land. We didn't quite reach any of that. I could see this retest, gap fill, something like that first, and then we kind of come down. But for right now, it's kind of hanging out. Not huge sentiment, but again, two VPOCs in a row. We're opening above both. Um, I think good risk reward. Anything below 139.28. I'd pretty much be looking to bail on this trade and then see if we get a bigger drop. ON. ON. We got ooh, technically gap and go because Friday was green. However, I think this is more of a retest because that candle on Friday was also a retest gap as well. Not opening a great place. You're below that 200 EMA, very close to fighting with this 50. Support on this one bigger, longer term, 52, 57. Man, those alerts are flying in already. That is the morning bell. So, everybody on YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. And yeah, catch you guys tomorrow.